Well, it could always be worse. We could have lost 4-0 to Doncaster's reserves at home. I wonder who that happened to. But anyway, I just watched Coventry 1, Luton Town 0. And no, I'm not downbeat. Yes, it was our first loss of the season. It was the first goal we've conceded the season. But thinking about this in a rational way, we made wholesale changes. We brought in players who haven't played any football this season so far, and you sort of reap what you sow. This was against a very strong Coventry side as well. I looked at the Coventry side, and I saw there were six changes, but realistically, you have Sims and Wright up front, and we did very well to keep them quiet in the first half. But I digress. I'm always jumping straight to the end. Let's have a look at the lineup and how it started. So it was a wholesale change. Shea at the back. Holmes, McGuinness, and Christian Chigozie at the back. Before I go on to the rest of the lineup, quick word to all the Luton fans that travelled up there, paid 20 notes to go in. Relatively long midweek trip for a Carabao Cup tie. Fair play, every single one of you. I salute you, all of you. Fantastic, well done. You sang and you really got behind the team. It's just a shame the team couldn't show you just that little bit more in the final third. Back onto the starting lineup. So Holmes, McGuinness, and Chigozie, who, as a 16-year-old, had to get permission to get out of school so he could be on the bench for one of our Premier League games. And now he started his first game when we're in League One. Obviously, a massive fall for grace. But at the same time, I felt he really acquitted himself very well. I said to my dad beforehand, McGuinness is going to have a right old task on his hand because on one hand, he's got a very raw 18-year-old. And on the other side, he's got Tom Holmes, who's had zero preseason and turns like the Titanic. More on Tom Holmes later. Walsh and Nelson in the middle. I thought Nelson, he had a quiet first half. He really grew into it in the second half. Cohen Bramall making his first start. He got 45 minutes. Gideon Kajua on the right wing position. He really impressed me. And then up front, you had Woodrow and Fanny playing off Lassie Nordas. I don't want to be too hard on Woodrow. I thought he had very good touches in the game. But if you're playing him as one of the strikers, he hasn't got the legs to actually support Lassie Nordas. And a lot of the times when balls occasionally were whipped into the box, like Woodrow, he was kind of in no man's land. He hasn't got, I said before, athleticism, positioning, moments. Woodrow can provide you the moments. I can count them on one hand how many moments Woodrow has provided the fans of Luton Town. But does he offer you athleticism or positioning? Not really. He kept drifting out to the left-hand side, especially in the first half, and he was sort of occupying the space that Cohen Bramall was trying to run into. So ultimately, it just stopped. There was a moment where Woodrow played the ball to Cohen Bramall, and then he ran to the left wing, and that was Cohen Bramall was facing that space. Like, it was like, where am I going to run to? Like, if you're going to be a striker, like, stay central. That is ultimately what it's all about. You're going to score your goals there. But Woodrow had a moment, he had a shot from 25 yards or so. I think Ben Wilson made it look better than it actually was. But there's no getting around it. This was very much our B squad, featuring some players that were trying to get up to speed, like the likes of Fanny, who's missed with a concussion, the longest concussion known to man. He was out for 6 weeks with a concussion. Liam Walsh, he showed some good touches here and there. Chigozie, as an 18-year-old, a raw 18-year-old, he had a very, very tough game because he was up against this young Andrews, who was also making his first appearance for Cov. I thought he was a very impressive player. He spent his season, he played football for Motherwell last season in the Scottish Premiership, and he's got a point to prove. But he was also up against the likes of Haji Wright. And then when they went off, he was up against Brandon Thomas Asante. So very, very tough night at the office for young Chigozie. But I thought he acquitted himself incredibly well. So the first half, I would say we edged it. We edged it. We looked like the better team. We created a little bit more. And then the second half comes. Cohen Bramall goes off. A word on Cohen Bramall. I think he's actually going to be a very good player for us. He whips in a mean corner. So it really does feel like he is the replacement for Alfie Dowsey. He needs to get up to speed. But then it is an issue of where is the depth at left wing back? So Ali came on in the second half. He goes to right wing back. You would have thought he would have come in at left wing back. But no, Josh Phillips played at left wing back. Once Cohen Bramall sort of went off and we shifted the positions, like moving Longwhite, who replaced Bramall at half time. So Longwhite drops into sort of the left centre back position. And then Phillips, when he came on, he filled that left wing back position. But it just shows there's no depth at left wing back, right wing back. Obviously, right wing back, we are waiting until Izzy Jones comes back. But if you're waiting and waiting and waiting, like, what if there's a setback? What if Izzy Jones is sold before the window? Well, he won't be sold before the window opens. But hey, I'm just thinking out loud. Anyway, so in the second half, going back to what I said before, athleticism, positioning, moments. Tom Holmes, his positioning for their goal. Oh my word. It was the definition of no man's land. The absolute definition. I honestly can't get my head around it. And you see his face, like I watched on the replay, his face when he knew he got done. He knew he got done. Essentially, Tom Holmes, it sort of summarizes our recruitment over the last, but pretty much everything that we did from getting into the Premier League to last January. Tom Holmes sums up our recruitment in a nutshell. So that winter window when we were 3 points behind Forest could have had a chance of staying in the Premier League. Who did we sign? We signed Daiki Hashioka and then persist with playing him left centre-back, right centre-back, right wing-back. We play him pretty much in every single position other than his natural position of right-back. And then we signed Tom Holmes, who we immediately loaned back to Reading. And then he has a couple of good games in the Championship. But ultimately, he's not athletic. He's just a beefcake defender. He's a good defender. But he's got the turning circle of the Titanic, as I said earlier. And a lot of this could be down to his lack of match fitness. And that's absolutely fine. But I think Bloomfield got that one incredibly wrong. Other than that, it was a very even game. There was really not much in it right up until the end when we were sort of pushing up. There was a chance with Brandon Thomas Asante. He sort of got in behind Chigozie, squared it in, and Ellis Sims perhaps should have opened up his foot and found the net. Cov had another chance where Sakamoto completely dived. It was unreal. And it was right in front of the referee as well. And I'm with Liam Walsh on this. Liam Walsh didn't touch him. And Sakamoto throws himself to the floor. Then they have a free kick. So Radoni takes a free kick. It was a very good free kick. And James Shea did incredibly well to spare the referee's blushes. Getting down low, digging that out. Fair play, James Shea. Rolling back the years. James Shea's distribution was actually good. In the first half, he was finding Nordas. Nordas was winning his aerials. I do feel with Nordas, like obviously he's the third choice striker. We probably, well, with the publicised Tovide shenanigans, we were trying to bring in another forward because obviously there isn't that much trust in Woodrow and Nordas. And I completely understand that. You know, we got Wells and Yates but I'd like to see them playing up top together because, as I said before, you get one of the strikers sort of dropping into the wing, although Wells has a bit more legs than Woodrow, so Wells can sort of get in and amongst it in front of goal, whereas Woodrow, he had some nice touches. He gets involved in sort of the middle third, but when it comes to the final third, he can slaughter through some balls, but ultimately he's not really impacting the final phase of play at all, other than having a shot from like 30 yards. He needs to show more as an attacker, because ultimately he is a striker. Well, I believe he's a striker, isn't he? Pretty sure. Although people have tried to say, oh no, but he's a 10, he's not a striker, he's a 10. No, he is a striker. That is his primary position. Strikers are meant to score goals, and currently he's operating at less than 1 in 10 for Luton Town. I thought Fanny was good. He obviously tired towards the end. Good progressive runs. We had a chance. We saw glimpses of some players that, we wouldn't really see in league football. That is the good thing about these cup competitions. And it's good that we actually have, well, we got knocked out of this one, but there's going to be the JPT or the LDV, the Virtue. There's going to be the Virtue Trophy. So we will not get knocked out of that. Essentially, we have 3 group games, and we can see a little bit more of the likes of, I don't know, Josh Phillips. I think maybe he's not quite cut out for men's football just yet. He shows some good touches, a bit weak on the ball, and he tried to do some clever things where he'd push it beyond the defender and beat them for pace around the edge. But he pushed the ball a little bit too far. That's the thing. And he did that twice, ran out of pitch. But the likes of Richards could have won it at the end. Maybe if he just cushioned the header a little bit. But in the moment, you can't really do anything about it. And Zach Nelson had a very similar chance where the ball fell to him right on the edge of the box. He snatched it. He had a shot straight away. I'm not losing sleep about it. Better opposition. A league above, a team that will probably be competing in or around the playoffs come the end of the season in the Championship, league above. Even if their manager is absolutely trash, they still have an incredibly good squad, and they did sort of turn the screw as the game went on. I feel maybe Saville could have been a good introduction there. Maybe we could have changed it a little bit more, gone a bit more direct, especially with Yates coming on. Yates barely did anything. There was one moment where Fanny sort of got hacked down as the ball came over from Shea. Yates was clean through. The ref, not a good game for the ref, really. It was a very stop-start game. And Yates was through on goal. Ref blew, didn't allow the advantage. Yates was clean through one-on-one. Hey, can't change the past. You just got to crack on with it. Live in the moments. That is what football is about. A game of moments. Positioning and athleticism. Just ask Tom Holmes. He's got to go. Let me know what you thought of the game tonight. Are you upset there wasn't a cup run? I'm not ultimately fussed, but you might be. There's a lot more football to be played this season. We go on to Bradford, and remember, tomorrow evening, depending on when you're watching this, Wednesday evening, 9 p.m, we have a live stream. We're going to be going out live. Myself, Ryman, Phil, maybe Wedge. Who knows? It's going to be absolute carnage. It's not a phone-in, but we're just going to be chatting Luton Town. Love to have you there watching us. Take care, everyone. Have a good evening or good morning whenever you're watching this. Most importantly, come on, you Hatters.